Do we realize that more than 48% of jobs as of today won't exist by 2035? Do we foresee that more than one-third of the skills that the future world will demand from our children are not even considered important today? Do we understand that more than 90% of common mental health and well-being issues go untreated and unaddressed? What is the aspect that a student needs the most in life? It is guidance, scientific guidance. More often than not, we rely on unauthenticated, non-verified, non-personalized sources for guidance. This is as damaging as self-treating with the help of the internet than going to see an expert doctor. CBSE, India's premier education board, and Guinness World Record-winning Lifeology are partnering to organize one of the largest guidance festivals in the world from September 19th to the 24th. The certification program will provide scientific guidance for life and career, along with assessments, games, quizzes, and scholarship opportunities. Top brains from around the world are coming together to guide and mentor our students. National Guidance Festival 2022. Register now.
class 8 to 12? Are you confused about your career? Do you want to know how to develop 21st century skills? CBSE, India's premier education board in association with Guinness World Record-winning Lifeology Foundation, is organizing the world's largest guidance festival for teenagers. Mark your calendar from September 19 to 24. Listen to the brightest brains across the world, interact with expert mentors, and get connected with global wizards. You will end up with perfect clarity regarding career, skill development, and emotional well-being. Also, grab a valuable certificate marking your participation. Don't miss this opportunity. Register now.
The most awaited National Guidance Festival by CBSE and Guinness World Record-winning Lifeology begins. Thought leaders from the United Nations, NASA, UNICEF, Google, Intel, Times Network, and Schindler. Top brains like Chetan Bhagat and Kiran Bedi. Alumni of Ivy League universities like Harvard, Stanford, London School of Economics come together to mentor and guide Indian students. This mega festival is going to be the largest guidance event in the world, with 27,000 schools and an estimated participation from 1 million students and parents. NGF National Guidance Festival will transform the career and life trajectory of our young students by introducing them to scientific guidance, self-assessments, and career mentoring through which they obtain crystal clear clarity regarding their future. This 20-hour certification program of international standards will inform and inspire our next generation towards the most significant dimensions: career, and life. CBSE Lifeology National Guidance Festival from September 19th to the 24th. Be future ready.
Hello, everyone. This is really exciting as we embark on day 2 of the National Guidance Festival organized by CBSE and Lifeology Foundation. This is Deepa Rahuleshwar, People Officer from Lifeology Foundation. I'm extremely happy to get back. How are you guys feeling? How are you? All my dear students, I can say that you've already started coming up on chat and, networking. Hi, any 11th standard grades here? Any Marathi speaking people here? अरे बहुत कुछ network कर रहे हैं आप लोग. Those लोग सब साथ में हैं क्या? How are you all? Tell me, how was yesterday? Yes, I can see the chats. I can see all the chats. Oh my God, there are so many chats. So many chats coming up. Yes. Hi, ma'am. Hi. Good evening, Lifeology, CBSE. Wow. This is infectious. This is amazing. I love it. Thank you so much. Keep pouring in the energy. आप लोग जो energy हमें दे रहे हैं, यही तो हमें आगे लेके जा रहे हैं. So thank you so much, guys. And I welcome all of you once again. So I'm sure you got an absolutely brilliant idea yesterday about how to choose a suitable career. Thanks to Praveen, he took a detailed session about it, but that's just the जैसे मैंने कल बोला था ना, just the trailer. Picture अभी बाकी है, right? So, before we get started, I have a very simple, activity for you, okay? Now, this is really very simple, okay? But we're going to do it quickly, guys. So please stop chatting, all of you. Please stop saying hi, hellos to your friends, because I just have 3 anagrams for you, okay? I just have 3 words here, which is put up like in shuffled spelling. I want you guys to figure it out and put it up on chat. Are you ready for this? Okay, so don't spam the group with a lot of highs right now. I know you're all excited, but just hang on, because let's just do a little bit of this activity, okay? So let's have some fun with NGF, okay? So the first one coming your way, first anagram, GIBTADA. What is this word? Let me give you, it's in terms of career, of course, it's a booming technology. It's an emerging career. What could this be? GIBTADA. It's like gib tada. But then, of course, that's not the actual word. The word is different. It's a technology. It's a booming technology. Yes, a lot of them are getting it. It is, of course, big data. Big data. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm getting a lot of response on this. Yes, it is big data. It is a booming technology. It's something that anyone who wants to pursue their future in science and technology, obviously when it's technology, this is something that you will come across. So big data it is. Let's move on to the second one. Okay, quickly. What is this? CENADGIU. Oh, that looks a little difficult even to me. I mean, I frame these questions, but then, yeah, CENADGIU. What is it? Come on, guys. Let me give you a clue. This is what you're here for. All of you are here just to get this one thing. Come on, just shuffle it. Just shuffle it. Try different combinations.
I got it.
No, you are not going to say this.
No, I think it is Chetan Bhagat with H missing.
Oh, you gave out the surprise. I wanted to just introduce him with a boom and just gave out the name. All right, but you're wrong. The answer is guidance. Are you not here for guidance? Yes. Are we all not looking for guidance in life?
Well, in one sense, I'm right. Because what Chetan Bhagat is going to do is to give expert guidance, life guidance.
Absolutely.
So I'm right in one way,
Absolutely, I agree. And the last one, guys, what is this? STIVAFEL. What is this? It's a celebration. What are we in? The CBSE National Guidance Festival. That's right. It's FESTIVAL. Well done, all of you who got the answers right. You guys are smart, huh? I must tell you. Lot of answers. It was just coming in like, it's like bombarded. The chat box is bombarded with so many answers. I'm so happy to see the answers coming in. Well done, all of you. So that was just a little bit of a fun thing that I wanted to do before we get into actual business. Well, I don't want to say business because it's going to be so much fun today. I have the opportunity to welcome someone who I've told earlier also I'm a big fan of. All right. Now, this person here, what can I say about him? He's a star in the contemporary modern Indian literature. He's a multi-talented personality. He's a novelist, he's a columnist, he's a public speaker, he's a screenplay writer, he's a motivational speaker, and he's a mechanical engineer who's graduated from IIT Delhi and then pursued PGP from IIM Ahmedabad. Now that's like here, 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 here. And the center of all of it is India's most celebrated author, the man who created, for me, always special, Hari, Ryan, Alok, and Neha. I'm never going to forget those characters. And let me tell you that this is probably the only film which is based on a book, but I like the book better. I'm so happy that Rajkumar Hirani, director, is not on National Guidance Festival, but I have to be honest when I say this, that the book just bowled me. But of course, the film wasn't up to the book, because that's the capability of this author. And he's here today because he's had different careers. He's switched careers. Who better than him to tell us about 6 points? And why 6 points? 5 points were a few years back. So we've come a little ahead. So 1 point extra. So 6 points towards success in 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear boys and girls, please put your hands together to welcome the man you've all been waiting for. कल से पूछे जा रहे हैं आप लोग, चेतन भगत कब आएंगे? ये लो आ गए आपके सामने. Let's welcome none other than India's most favorite, my most favorite, your favorite author, multifaceted personality, Chetan Bhagat. There you go. So, Chetan, welcome to.
Hi.
Hi.
I have to give an award. I want to give one.
I
award.
also have to
I want to give
invite
an
somebody
award.
else along with you.
No,
Okay,
Deepa,
before,
Chetan ji is
before you
telling-
invite, I was just saying, I have to give an award. The most enthusiastic MC, the most
Thank you.
enthusiastic MC in India is Deepa Iswar.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I swear,
It's like a
so
crown.
much energy. Isn't it, guys who are watching? Isn't she like? Why do you need a motivational speaker? She's there.
No. Come on. Don't
She's
be
like
so
the-
humble.
Energizer bunny, like energy, man. What did you have? What are the coffee you are having? I want to know the brand of coffee. I want to know everything.
I don't take tea and coffee. But let me tell you, Chetan Bhagat, आपको
it's
मैं
like
बहुत
this.
खुशी के साथ स्वागत करना चाहूंगी, लेकिन आपके साथ-साथ I also want to invite an interesting personality, somebody who's changed maybe many lives, but my lives for sure. And he is none other than, of course, Mr. Rahul Ishwar, co-founder of Lifeology. Let's welcome Rahul Ishwar along with Chetan Bhagat to today's session. All right. Welcome, Rahul Ishwar. And of course,
Thank you,
now
Deepa. Perhaps the only person who can outspeak me more faster than me and who can make me shut up always. Thank you for that. Thank you for that kind introduction, Deepa. Yeah.
All right, so Chetan जी, actually ना आपको मैं बहुत बहुत खुशी के साथ स्वागत करना चाहूंगी. आप देश के लाखों बच्चों को आप एड्रेस कर रहे हो आज, और ये है कि हमारी सारी के सारी बच्चे यही पूछे जा रहे हैं जब से हमारी posters, our posters have gone out, our campaign has gone out. They've only been asking when is Chetan Bhagat session. It's as if like सभी बच्चे National Guidance Festival पे आए हैं आपको मिलने. It's almost like that. So, what would you like to say as you start on this address that we're all waiting for?
First of all, this is my one of my many associations with Lifeology, right? मैं पहली बार नहीं आ रहा, so I feel like I'm almost part of it. So I was actually waiting for it, looking forward to this, and every time you bring me to such a beautiful platform. तो आज जो इतने बच्चे यहाँ पे हैं, वो आप लेकर आए हो, and you built this platform, you built this brand. And you trying to help people. आप इतने लोगों की मदद करना चाह रहे हैं, और मैं चाहता हूँ कि अगर मेरी वजह से थोड़े लोग और इंस्पायर हो जाएं, थोड़ा और मोटिवेटेड हो जाएं, थोड़ा और सोचें, हाँ यार लाइफ में कुछ बनना है, कुछ आगे जाना है, यही मेरा गोल रहता है हर चीज में. हाँ, whenever I give a talk, my YouTube channel, the goal is जो भी ये सुन रहा है, I want you to be in the top 5% of society, not top 5%. It's not that difficult. It is not that easy, but it's not that difficult also. अगर आप फोकस्ड वे में अपनी लाइफ लीड करो, you can be in the top 5% of life. And I hope everybody who's come here and not listening to some, silly skit somewhere or silly item numbers somewhere, but actually attending this, already is a different person. So already alag hai. So that is great. And I think I'm very happy to play a contribution in inspiring them. So thank you for having me.
And Chetanji, before we move into our session, this time 27,000 schools are participating, and from across 20,000 schools, we are having active participation. Various CBSE platforms are telecasting it, and we would like to show. And I would request our students to show their energy to Chetan Bhagat by typing in our chat boxes what they want to talk to Chetanji, and let's show the energy, because it is only Zoom. We have invited some of the students where they can. They will be sharing the screen and showing it to you. So show your energy. And Deepa can also tell the students, show their energy and chats to Chetan Bhagat ji, so that we can show the chat boxes. We'll share the screen.
Oh my God. No, please don't ask me to do that, because already blasting with energy. Now, if I ask them, now it's going to be like exploding. So it's like there's so much of, I can't pick a single chat because it's just scrolling as if someone's just going on high speed. So ye to mujhse nahi hoga. I can't. Yeah, there it is. You can see it right now.
Wow. Okay. Hello. All these guys, I am seeing these comments, and thank you guys. I love you. This is so, like, I'll cry.
And Chetanji, this is telecast across multiple platforms, and especially CBSE's platform, our various school platforms and their groups, and they are all, वो सब wait कर रहा है Chetanji को सुनने के लिए. Please.
Hello. Yeah. Hi guys. So दोस्तों, अभी life is simple and life can be difficult, but life, you can make it very simple. The road to success is there for you. But the problem today is there are many other roads which are trying to distract you. So if you decide, सबसे पहले तो तुम्हें ये life में decide करना है कि मैंने अपनी life waste नहीं करनी है. If you want to waste your life, there are very, very easy ways. Like today, you can legally ruin your life. Legally. Illegally, though, you can by committing crimes and having drugs and all these things. So, chalo, are illegal, but you can legally ruin your life. It's allowed, encouraged also. You can ruin your life by, for example, being addicted to your smartphones for nonsense purposes, not for educational purposes, but for purposes like watching Bollywood celebrities, vacation photos. Maldives, which heroine has gone to Maldives? Now today you can see it. You can see what they eat for breakfast. They live in this beautiful villa. Breakfast comes in the boat, whatever. But ask yourself, what is it doing for you? What is it doing for you? And you say, okay, but it only takes 30 seconds. But it's not just 30 seconds, because you watch it for 20 other people and you watch it every day, and then you watch something else. And Instagram is very smart. Big engineers are working in there, much smarter than all of us. And the computers they use are even smarter. So they tell you one more story that they feel your brain will like to see. One more. It's like you are not only like you are in a bar having a drink. There are 20 bartenders with the next drink ready. One more, sir. One more, sir. One more, sir. One more cigarette, sir. One more cigarette. Someone is bringing you. It's harmful for you, but they don't care. They want your attention. It's all about attention today. They want your attention. Why? To sell you some ads. That's it. They don't care about your life. They don't feel your life's focus should be on bigger things. They don't care. They feel it's okay if you focus your life on watching Maggie noodles or whatever. I don't want to take a brand's name, but any noodles ad or any snacks ad or any whatever clothes ads, that's all they care about. They don't care about your future. They don't care about your personality. They don't care about your, how you're going to live your life. Now, if you go down that path, people will encourage you. People will clap for you. Welcome to Instagram stories. Welcome to Reels. Welcome. Please, one more puppies. You must see puppies. You must see babies. You must see, this heroine went to Maldives in the villa. And you will start wasting your life slowly. And after many years, you will be left behind. Some other people will be ahead. You will not be in the top 5%, whereas you could have been. So very good legal way to ruin your life, right? Legal way. You can ruin your life by eating unhealthy food. You You can just keep eating the junk they keep marketing. If you go to normal kirana store in India, you for 100 rupees also you can buy things which are very beautifully packaged. The ads come beautiful, people sell them, chips and those kurkure snacks, and even the juices they sell, a lot of them are full of sugar. They're not even juices, and even they're just like juice flavored sugar. And you can buy it. It's legal. Keep having it, keep eating like that every day, and you will waste your life. Stop exercising. It's completely legal. The government is not telling you, please go run. Government is not saying go to the gym. Don't do. Legal. Spend time like that. You will become unhealthy. You will ruin your life like that. Play video games. You will ruin your life like that. Right? Very addictive. Video games are designed to be addictive. You will not sleep properly. Spoil your sleep over many years. Ruin your life. Again, legally allowed. You don't sleep properly. No policeman is going to come and tell you, why aren't you sleeping properly? So you have your own life, and these are your choices. If you make these choices, it will lead you nowhere. Pornography, very easily available now, right? Even though it's not legal, but it's super easily available. And you can keep watching it. And there are too many harmful effects of pornography, which I don't want to go into that. But again, an easy way to ruin your life. Apni life barbaad karna bahut aasan. So don't do that, right? There is another path, which is the focused path, which is very, very simple in a way. Ki mujhe life mein kuch banna hai. I want to become something in life. I want to rise in life. I have this beautiful body, which has come after millions of years of evolution. You have hands, you have legs. I'll take care of this body. I have a wonderful mind. All of you have wonderful minds. I will use it to focus on things that take me ahead in life. The focus or attention is everything. You focus on something that your textbooks for 2 years, you will be in a different place. You focus on Instagram reels, you'll be in a different place. Is it really difficult to understand? Is it really rocket science? Do you really need? No, it's just that you remember that the world is trying to steal my attention today. Companies are trying to steal my attention today. It is for sale, but your life's attention can make you a fortune. It can give you a very happy, successful life. Don't give it to somebody so cheap that just for watching a few ads, you have given away that attention for some cheap entertainment. Don't do that. So build your life like that, that first of all, you will have this focus. Without focus, it's not going to work, right? Second of all, you will willingly cut distractions. Once you have the focus towards what? Towards your goals. You have to make some goal, right? Most of you are students, very young students. So goal is very simple. Do well in studies and remain fit. Almost everyone will have this goal. So follow it. Every day, do things for that goal. Remain fit, work towards your studies. Remain fit, work towards your studies. Ignore everything else. I'll tell you one thing. Career comes first. All these things will come later. They are not going away anywhere. The videos will not stop. Content will not stop. Entertainment will never stop. You are not missing anything. If you miss the latest movie, it doesn't matter. Next year, there'll be another latest movie. People are in the business of making movies. You don't have to worry so much. But right now, your life is passing you by. And so that is really all you have to do. It is not, you don't need to be genius. Don't need to be super motivated. You just need to know the reality. Don't be this blind person in the matrix where everybody's leading you. Some company says, come and watch my video. Some company says, come and eat my junk food. Some company says, come and play my video game. And you go around. No, you open your eyes and say, no, I'm here to make something out of my life and I'm going to focus on that. And get that and only that will take you ahead in life. Many, many average students. Many of you may be thinking here, Arey yaar, I'm an average student. Mera kya hoga? I can't do it. That's not true. बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. So, that's average students have done well. They've opened businesses, they've done jobs, they become content creators. Not everybody doing well in India today came first in their class. I can guarantee you. Make a list of the top 500 people in India today. See their class rank, and I can guarantee you they will not all be coming first in class. So it's not necessary. I got 76% in my class 10. I was not serious till then. After that, I became a little serious about my life, about my studies. And since that day, I have been serious about my work. Even today, I'm serious about my work. I keep doing new things. I'm not studying now, but I got into content space. I make motivation videos. I started a YouTube channel not for entertainment, but to help people at age 47. And we crossed 600, like that was last year. We now crossed 600,000 subscribers. Very good. We have some 60 million views totally so far. Excellent for us. We are still learning and I'm still focused on that. Now, if I want, I can easily distract myself. I can easily party. I've made my money. I can just go on holiday, live on the beach all day, not work hard. But then what is the point of that life? There is no fun in that. In 5 days, I'll be bored. How much beach can you do? What will I do on the beach? How much coconut water can I have? Right? So I have to work. I have to create value, find meaning in my life. This lesson is not just some Uncle Chetan is coming and telling the students. I use this lesson on myself every day. Every day I do some fitness thing. Today I had a lot of work in office. I was working. I have this webinar. Right after this, I'm going for my fitness. Right after this webinar. It's because that is on my to-do list. It is because I have to do the work. You do the work and it will happen. You do the work. Remember one thing, life is uphill. One quote someone told me, life is uphill. Life is work. You cannot have a good life without work. You cannot be happy without work. You cannot be happy without making effort. You think you lying down in bed, in mattresses, eating grapes all day is happiness? No, it's not. It's very boring after 2 hours. Happiness comes when you do the work towards happiness, when you do the work towards your goals, towards what is meaningful to you. So all these things you will understand as you grow older. As of now, as students, just don't get distracted, guys. It's really bad right now what they are doing. It's completely legal to do this, to ruin your life. So I don't want you to ruin it. Use your brain and say, I'm going to be focused, and you will go along. Thank you so much, guys.
चेतन जी, मैंने देवानंद साहब का एक गाना याद किया आपके भाषण सुनने में.
अरे वाह.
नाम है हरे कृष्ण हरे रामा से, उसमें एक लाइन है, जीवन नाम है काम का. No, that is a very beautiful line. That you captured the essence of it. That was very nice. Deepa, question. We have students waiting here too. हमारे पास students यहाँ भी wait कर रहा है. और
we have actually we had so many questions coming in, and actually even like I said, पहले से ही जब से हमने बोला है कि चेतन भगत आ रहे हैं, हमें सबसे ज्यादा questions आपके session में ही आए हैं. So we did have a lot of questions, out of which we filtered out, and we have some of the best questions here, and they are sharing the panel with you. Okay, so I'm so happy and proud to call these student representatives who will be sharing the screen space and this panel space. Guys, boys and girls, it's this huge achievement that you are getting right now. So let me go ahead and call the students. Okay, so I hope they've joined the session. Yes, all our students, are they in? Can the team confirm that? Yes, Lifeology. Do we have the student ambassadors here, the student panelists here? Yeah, so I guess they are just joining in because they thought like it's from 6:30 onwards we'll have the Q&A. So they are joining in. Yes, they're coming in now. Yes, I can see Adrika, Aldrin. Yes, now they are coming in. Okay, so let's just give them 2 minutes to settle down because it's not every day that they get into a panel with Chetan Bhagat. So let's just give them a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, Rahul, you can probably go ahead and ask him something that you want to ask. By the time that we just settle these students and let's go ahead with their questions. Yeah.
सिर्फ एक सवाल है. मैं जब बढ़ रहा था, हमें ये बताया गया कि डिसिप्लिन एक बहुत नेगेटिव वर्ड है. Discipline is something wrong. Discipline is boring. This was the attitude that was inculcated to many students of India. मगर जब मैंने आपको सुना कई बार ये डिसिप्लिन का इंपॉर्टेंस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट तरीके से आपने पॉइंट आउट किया. स्टूडेंट्स जब सेटल होगा, कैन यू पॉइंट आउट द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ डिसिप्लिन इन लाइफ?
या डिसिप्लिन लाइक नेगेटिव वर्ड बनाया हुआ है. डिसिप्लिन मतलब है कि कोई डंडा लेके मार रहा है. दैट्स व्हाई इट्स नेगेटिव. एवरीबॉडी डिसिप्लिन डंडा. But that's not what it is. Actually, discipline, the most important discipline is not what someone else imposes. The most important discipline or the ultimate aim is to have self-discipline. Dandamar cannot work throughout your life. But I'll show you the power of discipline. I have seen youth of India, young people, 20-year-old sitting, after class 12, first year college, say in Kanpur, Banaras, Patna, wherever I go, for talks, Kota. They're sitting in the evening, 1 o'clock in the night, chatting with 5 friends on 7 different WhatsApp groups, um, um, watching Instagram reels. Netflix is playing in front of them. Things are going on. Computer is also on. Some video game is on. That is their life. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, they sleep. Then they wake up at 10, 11. Now imagine the same age boy, the same background, same city se aaya hai, same parents hai, but imagine he joined the army. Suppose he joined after class 12. What would he be doing? His classmate joined the army after class 12. He went, and this boy is doing all this data plus video games plus everything at night. And that guy in the army, what is he doing? He probably has slept off because he has to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. He has to make his bed. He has to groom himself. He has to look perfect. He has to go for exercise. He's running. He's lifting sacks of, with his equipment, his gun or whatever, going up the hill, trekking. He's like doing all the work that the army has given him. He's super fit. He's super disciplined. By 10 o'clock, he's like done so many things in the day. He's fresh. He's strong. What is the difference between these two boys? They were the same 1 year back. The difference is discipline. And army gives you what? Discipline. Most of the times there's not a war going on, thankfully. So what is the army doing? Most of the time they spend the time training people in only one thing: discipline. Of course, they have the army procedures and they have training of, climbing and rock climbing and mountains, but all that is done pretty fast. Most of the time, it is enforcing and learning discipline. And until one day, the army person is trained so much that they have self-discipline. That's why if you meet retired army people also, they have a different body language. They have a different way of talking. For life, they are changed. Nobody's telling them now to be, well-groomed and fit and talk and show up on time, but they just become like that, right? So things like punctuality, things like, not wasting your time, things like sitting straight, body language, all these things, everything it does, that is the only thing. That is the only thing separating. It's discipline. The same boys, same brain cells, same background can achieve a lot. Now, do you really need to have the army do it to you? What is the army doing? It just puts a senior who tells you, these are the rules. If you don't do this, if you don't wake up at 5 o'clock, you are running 10 kilometers more than other people. So you do it once and you never miss. Now nobody's doing that to you. So you're like, okay, I'll sleep till 10 o'clock. I'll sleep till 11 o'clock. Then I'll get up and watch TV first thing. Why are you doing this? Bring discipline into your life. It can be learned. It's just practice. It's not easy, but the more you practice it, the better it is. No, karna hai. If I said I'll study 2 hours today, I will. It doesn't matter how I feel. Actually, I am not a motivational speaker. I am a disciplined speaker. Motivation is for 20% of the time. Motivation comes and goes. Supposing you're not motivated today, what? You don't do the work? You don't do? That's silly. Motivation speaker is not very useful actually. A disciplined speaker is more useful. Ultimately, discipline will take you far in life. Discipline will give you consistency. And it's always consistency over intensity. One day you work very hard, then 10 days you're not working, nothing will be achieved. 10 days you work medium hard every day, you will achieve a lot more. So it all comes from discipline. Practice it, make it a part of your life, and ordinary people can become extraordinary.
Right. I think, what I really like is the fact that you're so bold enough to come out and say things that are not very conventional. I mean, like, people are always behind motivational speakers, but then you are here who say that, it's not motivation, or more like it, maybe motivation is required, but discipline is more required. So we did have a lot of questions on that note coming in. I could just get a glimpse of some questions, and there are a lot of them asking the question, how do we not get tempted by distraction? But I'm not asking you to answer that now, because I know that one of these student panelists who are on the panel with you have the same question. So let's leave it for then. So until then, I'd like to welcome all the student panelists. They're already here. And thank you, all of you, for watching, for posting your questions. We're just picking questions from here and there. So we will try to answer whatever we can. So let's just get started. First, I'd like to invite our student panelists. I want all of you to please turn on their videos and show us your nice smile, the bright smile. Yes, I can see that. Good job. Good job on smiling, all of you. All right. So let's get started with the first speaker, Shachi Singh. Shachi, go ahead and ask your question. Introduce yourself first and shoot your question.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Shachi Singh, Lifeology Youth Ambassador from Chapter 10. Our chapter name is Team Be Well. And my question to you, sir, is why is it always so important to have a successful career? Can we not just sometimes fail and learn rather than always win and learn?
Very good question, a very deep question. Successful is not, successful is not something which is defined by the world. Successful is defined by you, because you ask different people, they'll say different success. So I think some amount of success is needed at some point in life. It does add to your happiness. If you only have failure and failure, you may feel like, because failure is important, but failure also makes you feel sad. But it doesn't mean that you should have success and more success and more success and you'll be more and more happy. Because I've seen some very, very successful people who are unhappy. Right? I have seen movie stars that are unhappy. I've seen billionaires that are unhappy. That's just the way it is. Money, fame, all these things are not a guarantee for happiness. Most important is your head has to be in the right place. If your head is not in the right place, what's the point of this success? So I agree with you that just success is not enough, and just success, but a little bit of success is always nice. One should not think that just failure is enough. You can get success in different things though, like I said, it's not just money, it's not just things.
Well,
Thank you, sir.
Shachi, thank you so much, Chetanji, for that answer. And now let's move on to the next question. Anshika Srivatsava. So, student panelists, we've all seen you. And now, if the person who asked the question, you can turn on the video. So that is Anshika Srivatsava. Please go ahead and ask your question to Chetan Bhagat. And do not forget to introduce yourself.
Hello, sir, and everyone here. My name is Anshika Srivastava. I'm from Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, and I'm from City Montessori School. My hobbies are graphic designing and writer. So right now, sir, I have many questions to ask you. So first, the first one here is, does success have to be materialistic? What's the real meaning of success in your terms?
Success does not have to be materialistic, and it is wrong to think it is in fact, socially, it has become that, because success in the minds of maybe what we see our parents do when they're growing up, or our relatives or friends or neighbors or everybody around you seems to be doing. They make money to be everything. But different people I've realized different needs and wants. Some people don't want that much money. Now they are forced to think that they must have money, so that because everybody likes money, so we must have it. So it's okay. Like if somebody joins the army, for example, and they really wanted to join the army, they become an army man or woman, and are they successful or not? They are. But are they making the most money? Probably not. Probably bankers make more money than army people. But can you compare? If that was the case, then all the money people only will be like the Kailash Satyarthi who won a Nobel Prize helping kids, street kids. He probably doesn't make that much money, but is he less successful than average banker who probably makes more than him? Absolutely not. So the impact, success can be measured in different ways. It's your own life satisfaction, right? A job that gives you a lot of joy. Some people just love cooking, and that's what they want to be, because they get to cook. And if that pays the bills, they're happy. They don't want to do anything else. So life satisfaction, its impact you're having on society, it's your passion, how aligned your work is to your passion. All these things really matter. Just money, if it was, then everybody would be becoming a banker or a real estate developer, because they make the most money.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Anshika. We also have a lot of questions coming in from the viewers as live. So let's try to take a couple of them. So we have one of them. Can we please discuss ways to become a creative writer, a journalist, and an editor? This was asked by Ravindra Kumar Yadav. Yes, Chetanji, would you like to give any advice on that?
On what? On creative
Becoming-
writing?
Becoming a creative writer or a
Yeah.
journalist. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you read a lot, boss. You read a lot and you write a lot and you show your writing to people and get very objective, fair feedback. Don't just show it to your mother. Your mother is going to love it.
Whatever you
No,
write.
I'm just being honest. Your mother's going to love whatever you write. Maybe she's being genuine also, but to get feedback from proper people and read and write and read and write and you get better because it's not, it doesn't take a lot of equipment. It's not like you need a pianist needs a piano, a golfer needs a golf course. A writer doesn't need all that. Pen, paper, maybe a laptop, maybe even on your phone.
Right. Okay. So read more. Okay. Read more and just nurture it.
Yeah, read more, practice, show it to people, make it better, learn how to express yourself. It's not that simple, but it's not something that doesn't come with practice. Like anything, it gets better with practice.
Right. So that's Ravindra Kumar Yadav. There's one more question. Myra Shingla. She has asked, she or he has asked, should we focus more on syllabus info or information from life-like experience in your opinion?
Both, I mean, if you have an exam next week and you don't focus on your syllabus and you say, let me learn some life lessons from Chetan Bhagat, I mean, I am not sure if that's the best idea. So you have to achieve in the task given to you, your goal right now, whatever grade you're into, is to do well there. So you must focus on that. But that is not enough, obviously. Those 10 textbooks you read in each grade are good and they have been written by good people. But that's not enough in life, right? Nobody teaches you how to do relationships, how to keep your head straight, how to be mentally okay. Most people are not okay mentally. I've seen grown up also. So obviously it's not something, I don't even think even if you put a chapter on how to be mentally okay, people will be mentally okay.
Right. Okay. So the answer to the question is in both, okay, at the right times, but then both needs to be focused on. Thank you so much. We will take more questions from YouTube, but before that, let's go on to the next student panelist, who is Aldrin. Aldrin, please go ahead, introduce yourself and ask your
Hello,
question.
sir. My name is Aldrin Kutina, and I'm from Abu Dhabi Indian School, Murud branch. I'm from class 9. My question's a bit big, so I'll split it up for you. When you first began writing, what was the most lowest point that occurred and a great moral learned from that?
I think the lowest point was when I wrote the book and nobody wanted to publish it. And I think it was 2 years of like doing rounds and chapters of one publisher after the other, and people don't want to have anything to do with it. And it was like, it's really knocks you out. I may say today that, failure is okay, but when failure hits you, it's not easy to get up again and say, okay, we'll try more, it's difficult. So yeah, I think that I would say is my lowest point. But you have to work through it, you have to say, I'll work hard every day. That's it.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
So my second question is, what were the feelings you got when you first started writing, and what is the motivational phrase that kept you going?
I think I just loved writing. I mean, first writing, when you ask me the first I started writing, it was just, I loved it and just keep going. And it wasn't something that I required motivation then, because I didn't need a motivation first. Motivation I needed when nobody was publishing the book, or sometimes I need when it just gets too much, work is too much, it's difficult. It's a job now, right? Writing. For me, if I've done 10 books, sometimes the motivation just won't be there to keep performing. You feel like, abhi kar liya, now I'm Chetan Bhagat, I don't have to do the work. But that's not a good way to think. That's not what made me Chetan Bhagat. That's not the thinking that made me Chetan Bhagat. So I behave like a newcomer every day. Every morning I feel, what if I was a newcomer? What could I do? And that requires some motivation. And like the things I said, life is uphill. Every day you have to climb a little bit on the mountain called life. I don't look for downhill ways. I don't think, let's make life easy today. Let's go downhill. Let's go downhill. No. I have to find some way to go up. And going up is effort. And I have to find some effort every day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Aldrin. And we also have a question, which is, it's almost about Kirti. Kirti has asked a question. So, can you give us guidance about side career? So, I think Kirti yesterday, Praveen had explained about how to choose a suitable career, and we did, speak about how to choose multiple careers. But she had a side question, like, I want to be an author along with pursuing a main career. So, she wanted some advice on that. Like, is it possible to balance both careers together? And how do you do that?
Yeah, you can, but you have to pay the bills. As long as you have a strategy to pay the bills and keep your passion alive, that's best.
Right. All
So
right.
yeah, I'm being practical, unless you're born to some very rich parents and all, you can, but find a way to pay the bills and keep your passion alive. It's fine. Don't find a job that's so busy that you have to kill your passion. And if you only do your passion but can't pay your bills, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, find a balance.
Right. So I totally agree that life is a balance of everything. So this or that, somewhere in between. I think that's how it should be. All right. So let's move on to the next student panelist. और उसके साथ साथ मैं ये भी कहना चाहूंगी कि a lot of chats coming. Some of them are saying, can you please speak in English because I don't understand Hindi? Well, some of them are saying, can you please speak in Hindi because I don't understand
What do I
English?
do? Tell me, what do I do? I'll try to do a bit of both. I'll mix it, guys. Sorry. I understand. And both are very genuine requests. And that happens on my YouTube all the time, every day.
Right. And that's like, the side effects of having lakhs and lakhs of students watching the show from different parts of the world. So, we need to manage the languages. So let's move on to the next student, who is Adrika. Adrika, go ahead, introduce yourself. And this is your dream moment. Enjoy.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Adrika. I'm from GPS Rubibak and I'm 10th grader. And sir, I love writing poems, sir. Sir, my question to you is, how can one be persistent to achieve their goals, even after facing a lot of hindrances in their life?
It's not easy. It's not easy. You will face, and I can also tell you that even after facing hindrances, well, all of you will face hindrances. Everyone watching. And it's not easy. And that's what makes the difference between the winners and losers, that people who handle hindrances, you see yourself as a problem solver. You just do the work every day. You say, okay, this problem comes. Now what do I do? Now what do I do? And every day find something to do. And there is no shame in doing whatever work that comes your way. Sometimes, you just have to do it. And you just say, okay, this is not working. What else can I try? What else can I try? That's really the only way to do it until it works. Just keep at it, and maybe change the strategy. Maybe you're doing something mistake. Maybe lower your goal. Maybe change your goal. I'm not saying any of these outcomes is possible, but don't give up. Don't quit.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right, Adrika, thank you so much. So then let's call out, the next student panelist, and that is Vishwalojan Senthil. Vishwalojan, he's very, very enthusiastic. He's very excited. So Vishwalojan, ab jaiye, please ask your question to Chetan Bhagat.
Hello, Mr. Chetan, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. So I'm from Tamil Nadu, which you already know, but I'm settled in Abu Dhabi and I'm in Abu Dhabi Indian School studying in 10th grade. So now my specific question is it possible to achieve success in a long run without the skills needed for the 21st century if I'm technically strong enough?
No, you need skills. You need the skills that are required to operate in society today. And we are living in 21st century. So we need some skills. Like for example, today, if you don't have an online strategy or you're not very comfortable with online stuff, you are at a big disadvantage. I mean, you can maybe still do something, but it's difficult. Like for example, right now, I have to be very good at doing talks, of course, but also webinars, which is a completely different thing. Little things like setting up a good Zoom frame and making sure that I'm able to talk with the same energy like I would have in an auditorium. If I was in an auditorium, it's different. And right now I'm sitting on a chair in a room. So it's different. But and what has it got to do with writing? Nothing. So in some ways, I've had to learn these skills because this is how people connect today, right? Zoom meetings. So I have to know how to make Zoom meetings work, how to kind of be a panelist, how to lead it. So this is just one example. Or being a YouTuber. I mean, what has that got to do with writing? It wasn't even there when I started writing. YouTube wasn't there. Can you imagine? So tomorrow there may be metaverse, and I will have to learn metaverse then. So we have to stay up with the times. Yes.
Okay, sir. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And now let's move on to our next student speaker, and that is Bidisha Bhandari. Bidisha, over to you, Bidisha. Go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I hope you're doing well.
Very good,
I'm
very good.
Bidisha Bhandari. I'm 11th grade student of Paramount International School, Dwarka, New Delhi. And I'm so honored to share the panel with you. And my question for you is, as the term success, it has different meaning for different people, be it happiness, money, or fame, whatever. But what's the main thing which, when achieved by the individuals, they can call themselves successful?
So, you know, success is different for different people. That is my research of giving talks for like 15, 20 years in hundreds of cities and talking to people. What is success to you? Someone says, I just want to make my parents happy. Someone says, I want to have a Mercedes. And someone says, I want to have a name. Someone says, I want to be, leading a company. I want to be CEO. Or someone says, I want to be IS. And they all call it success. If they get it, it's success. If you achieve your goal, it's success. So firstly, success is different things for different people. Now, further complicating is it's for each person, success also changes with time. You know, a 10-year-old just wants to get, 10 out of 10 in dictation. 20-year-old wants to get into a good college. 30-year-old wants a good job. The 40-year-old wants to be senior in his company. 50-year-old wants to now think of what should he do to get meaning in his life. Like maybe I'm 48 now. I think, how can I do something which leaves an impact? How maybe like helping people become successful is more important than me becoming more successful. I've already done something, but if I can help others become successful, so I'm looking at meaning now. For me, success is meaning. But for a 20-year-old, it's like, gosh, I really want to get into IIT, man. That's success. I don't know what meaning business. So the same person, when I was preparing for IIT, success was different. Today it's different. And different people have different definitions of success. So it's really broad. So you have to go with what you want and what you want at that time and that phase of life. And it's good, right? It cannot just be one thing for everyone. Otherwise, everybody's like, this is success. Everybody run in that direction. That's not going to be a very interesting life for humanity. Not good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then we have a question from Vithal Bhere. How to find your passion? I think this is a question that has come earlier, that will keep coming in every day of this, this festival, because I think this is a major confusion. आजकल के बच्चों को जो confusion, I mean, जब मैं बोलूंगी आजकल के बच्चे, मुझे तो बहुत, I feel I'm very old myself, लेकिन कहना तो पाऊंगी that, whenever, one of the biggest confusions children have is, how do we find passion when there is so much of pressure about choosing career based on your financials, based on, success according to the society norms. So how do you find your passion?
It's not easy. Good question. It's not easy. Because a lot of people are pressured to say, oh, I'm passionate about this, but how do you know? Because a lot of times we just are wanting things in life which, I don't know, which society thinks we should want. Like we feel like, yeah, everybody says making money is important. Everybody says becoming an engineer is important. Everybody says this is important. So I want to become, because that's what it must be about. And so we are so lost in the social expectations from us that we never get a chance to think about what is our passion. And that takes time. And that only happens when you are firstly, you wake up and you're not plugged into society and society's narrative, like you must do this, you must do this. Whenever you think that I must do this, there's a problem there, because then it's not sure whether it's coming from you or it's coming from societal expectations. So the only thing you must do is know yourself and listen to yourself. And that takes time. That means that, no, this is not what I want. This is not me. So that may take years. I know 40, 50-year-olds who tell me, Chetan, it's all very good. They're my batchmates. It's all very good. You say you should live your passion. And I've worked in a bank all this while. I know I don't want this, but what is my passion? I said, because you've never bothered to find out. You're just running, trying to prove to the world that you're successful. But this is do you really want to be a banker for 30 years? And they're like, I don't know. It's too scary a question. Don't ask me this question. I'm like, the scary questions is where the best answers are. Scary questions is where your life is. So never be afraid of scary questions. You know?
Yeah, that's it. And then we also have Prachi Sharma on the same lines. Prachi Sharma has asked, how to know that we are on the right track? ये हम कैसे हमसे, you know, how do we tell ourselves that yes, अभी तुम सही जगह पे पहुंचे हो?
You, as long as you can only walk the right path, and you can only do your best, and you can answer, did I waste my day? Or did I waste my week? Chalo, ek din kai bar wait. Have I been wasting my month? And you have to be super honest with yourself. And it's like something like, for example, I'm really good at fitness, but I went to the US to drop my kids. I have twin boys. I dropped them at college. And we were there for 2-3 weeks, last few weeks, they're together with us, then they joined college. So obviously and US is a place where they give you food, like, I don't know, for 10 people in one portion. So, yeah, you know, no matter what you do, you will end up eating more than no matter what you normally should be eating. So I gained some weight. I have gained it. And now I came back and now I have to lose it. And it's very hard to lose. And I just like, I have to face the honest truth that this is what happened. I was not as careful there as I am at home or in India with my diet and everything. And I just have to do it. Now I'm not on the right path. I have to get back on the right path. But this week I've been okay. I've been good. I'm going to eat healthy. I've exercised, etc. So now I'm on the right path. Nobody stays on the right path all the time. It's okay. You will fall off the train. You cannot be, it's a long game. It's a consistency game in life. Achieving anything, diet, fitness, career. You will not have perfect week after week after week. You'll have a bad week, but you need that honest conversation. Imagine a mirror that you see, and it's a super honest mirror where you say, okay, you didn't do the job last week. But when you do the job, you say, yes, you did it right last week. That's good. It's that accountability mirror you can follow. You need that mirror where you go and you tell honestly what's going on. That's where the answer is. I can't tell you, you know, Rahul and Deepa can't tell you whether you're in the right path. Only you can tell yourself. So.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So let's move on to the next. We just have 3 more student panelists, and that is Tanisha Shri. Tanisha, go ahead.
Yes, hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tanisha Shri, student of class 10 studying in Delhi Public School, Bangalore South. My question to you, sir, is when you chose to become an author, how did your family and friends react? Did they try to discourage you? And how did you react that time? How did you feel? How do you like take care of the society pressure and what they expect from you?
I mean, just have to have a thick skin and, you know, do your thing, man. People are always going to say things. People will never be like, even when you're successful, people won't be happy. Forget about when you fail, then so they will. It's okay. Just have to develop a thick skin. And when your first part of your question, yeah, they were not very, like, my mother was supportive, but the rest of them were like, what are you doing? Why do you want to leave this job and you get paid so well and it's so predictable and you're this writer business? Who does this after IIT, IIM, MBA? You have your life set. Why are you doing this? And I tried to listen to them, but it was not ultimately, I couldn't do it. After 2 years of listening to them, I said, you know what? I am not happy. I have to try this more. But and then I went for it. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to say there was huge support. There wasn't any support, and I can tell you, you won't get any support. When you're trying to do different things, nobody's going to support you. You have to do it yourself.
So I think just don't expect it. That's the way out.
Better not. Even some might. I'm not saying nobody will support you, but like mostly, yeah, I think Deepa said it right. Best not to go with those expectation of support. If they support you, great. I love you. If they don't, well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Tanisha, for the question. Next, Richa Yadav. Go ahead, Richa.
Hi, Chetan sir. This is Richa Yadav. I'm from City Montessori School, Kanpur Road branch, and I'm from Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh.
So my question to you is, why having a career is really important when there are many other things we can do to make ourselves happy and successful as well?
Well, it's not the only thing. You're right. Career is not the only thing. And but it is one of the important things. I would not say career is not important. I often say happy life is dependent on three things: career, health, relationships. Three legs of a table. So it's like a table. Life, happiness is like a table, and there are three legs: career, health, happiness. Three legs are there. These three legs have to be balanced. If like you have a great career but terrible health and relationships, you will not be happy. You can keep making your career better, nothing is going to change. Same with like other way. If you only have health and relationship, but you don't have any career or nothing, it's difficult sometimes to be happy. And so I think I agree with you that career is not the only thing, but I would not say that career is nothing. It is one of the three things.
Great. We have an interesting question here. Did you plan your life based on your goal, Mr. Chetan Bhagat? But she's not, I don't know if it's a he or a she. It's AKXRAXX. How do you plan?
Okay.
Did you plan your life based on your goal? Did you plan at all, Chetan?
I do now. I do now. Earlier, I was not aware. You know, to be honest, when you're young, you do whatever the society expects you to do, and I kept doing it. It's just now I of course know that I have certain passions, I have certain work, I have certain goals, and my life is around it.
Okay, so it evolves. Your planning also
Yeah.
evolves at different stage.
Yeah, now I do. You know, like if I know, like I this is what I like to do. I like to be fit, so I don't like to stay up late. If I now know that my sleep is important, you know, for example, and I will not like now party late. I just won't. So is it like, am I aligning my life to my goals? Yes, that's what it comes down to. If you're somebody who you know, who wants to focus on their studies and not party with friends all the time, well, you will change your life for that. So yes, you should.
Great. Okay. And our last student panelist, Diya Kaushik. Diya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So first of all, really thank you for today, because as for me, talking to Chetan Bhagat sir is a really great opportunity. Being an aspiring writer and speaker myself, and talking to the most celebrated writer and speaker across India is really wholesome. So sir, I really love the way you put your words on like totally to the point. Matlab ghuma fira ke nahi, just to the point. So I'll give my question in the same way with an example. So in our typical Indian households, like say suppose your relatives came in and they are to like, Diya, what career do you want to choose? And I be like, okay, I want to be a writer. They're like, beta, career kuch hai, hobby nahi. Yes, so that's the basic mindset in India. It's like writing is a hobby, not a career, because it's not, you know, you won't get a decent income. It's not, you know, regular or anything like that. So, sir, I want you to give advice to those students of Indian households and their relatives or their parents that yes, writing can be a profession and they can be a writer too. They don't have to be demotivated for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to give relatives advice because they are not going to listen anyway. So relatives to won't listen. Log kuch to log kahenge, and relatives will find other ways to criticize you. If career is not the issue, they will have a problem with your, I don't know, your hair or your your you know, choice of food or anything. They can say anything, right? Or your choice of friends or your phone habits or whatever. So relatives will. So firstly, criticism will come in life, and it's part of it. And especially when you try to do something different, it challenges people's beliefs. People have always believed, no, these are hobbies. This is not the path people take. This is not how people do. This is what people do. So, you know, that's how it is. So when you say, no, I'm going to try it differently, it's something they have held for 20, 30 years, you're shaking it. So they're obviously not comfortable. So the best way is for you to say, no, you're wrong. No, you're stupid. No, you're dumb. No, you're idiot. You know, like that. So I have faced it. Now, at the same time, you need, like I said earlier, you need something to pay the bills. So certain professions, it is harder to make money in the sense that you won't get immediately money. So you need to find a way. So better to present the argument that this is what I'm going to do to pay the bills. And this is what I'm going to do for my passion. And it's going to be really difficult. I'm going to have to work double hard, but this is what my plan is. So then they become a little quieter. Okay, she has a plan to pay the bills. Now writing, yeah, maybe books is one thing, but I don't just make money from writing books. I mean, there are articles today, there are content writers in big demand. There's all kinds of things when it comes to writing, which are there. So don't limit yourself to one thing. So that's one thing. And sometimes it could be something totally different to writing, but it's just there because it pays the bills and it's not a job you hate. It doesn't have to be a job you absolutely love. So and then until one day when writing starts making money, that's fine. I mean, yes, some things can be hobbies like gardening. Gardening can be a hobby, but it can be a very good hobby. But gardening can be a profession too. So it depends where you take it. There's amateur level and pro level in everything. So maybe they don't know that. But as long as you know, then it's fine.
All right, Dia, good luck with that. All the best. All right, so we do have one more student panelist here, and she's Ishita. So Ishita, go ahead, ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ishita Toprekar from Sharjah Indian School, UAE. And my question, I'm requesting for an advice on making the right decision in life. And it can be for anything, choosing a college, a career, or just small decisions from day-to-day life.
I think keep your head straight, keep yourself stress-free, keep yourself very clear on what are you trying to do in life. Do you want to become something in life or not? And unplug from all this matrix of people trying to devote your attention. Because if your attention is devoted, you can't take good decisions. Your brain has the capability to take good decisions, but the brain is very delicate organ. If it's stressed, if it's distracted, if it's not thinking properly, it can easily get into a mode where it will not make you take good decisions. So we need good mental health, and then we need to have some goals in life, and each decision can be evaluated as, does this fit into my goals or does it not fit into my goals? Is it helpful to my goals or is it not helpful to my goals? And that's how you make it. 80% of the time, 20% of the time, we will all make bad decisions. Nobody here has made all the right decisions in life.
Right. All right. So I thought one of these, thank you so much, all student panelists. I thought this question is going to come in the student panel discussion, but it didn't. But it came a lot on from among our viewers. So I'm asking you this question. How do you get rid of distractions and laziness in life? This has come up on the chat box many times. So that's the last question from the audience to you.
But by realizing, man, that you have one life, you have one body, one brain, and you're not going to become a slave to these companies, literally these companies who want your attention to sell you some ad. They get your attention and your friend's attention and your neighbor's attention, and then they get the attention of 1 million people. Then they go to a company, which is a multinational company, and says, you want to sell your chips. I have 1 million people who are foolish enough to keep watching the videos I'm showing them. And then we can show them your chips ad, and they are so addicted to junk food that they will buy your chips. So they will show you the ad, make you buy those junk chips, and they want to keep your attention so that you can keep buying those chips. Once you know this, that this is what is happening, you say, no, I have not come here to this world to watch chips ads and eat chips and serve some multinational company's purpose and become their slave. I've come here to live my own life. Once you know that, then that thing doesn't seem so attractive. You're like, oh gosh, they are tricking me. Once you don't get tricked anymore. Once you are disciplined, once you say, I'm going to make something out of my life, I'm going to get somewhere in my life, and not do things that waste my time. Someone asked about decisions. The decision to not watch that content and not be distracted is a decision. I'm not going to watch it, because I'd rather spend my time learning things. You want to entertain yourself, do entertainment which is nothing to do with the screen. Go play a sport, go play some musical instrument, listen to some music in a deep way, read a book, something that mentally absorbs you. I'm not saying only keep studying, guys. Don't just keep wasting your attention on silly things. You won't even enjoy it. Have you ever, watch reels for 2 hours, you feel sick. But you do something more immersive, like a sport or reading or anything which involves you more, you'll come up more happy and fulfilled. So once you know all these things, you're woken up. So don't go back to sleep and be a slave.
And Chetanji, we also have the presence, and we would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Murali Tumarakudi. He's from United Nations, and he's the director of G20 Global Initiative Coordination Office. Thank you, Murali sir, for your presence. And maybe one last question to Chetanji from our side. Any words about, because this is our mission too, Lifeology and Lifologist. Our entire program is guidance, scientific guidance to career and life for students. So we'd like to, and we have been associating with for a long time. So any your vision regarding, because we believe students should be guided in the right way, inspired in the right way. What you're doing to YouTube, I'm a regular viewer of YouTube. Deepa keeps on saying, you keep on watching Chetan Bhagat. So anything you would like to convey to your students as a concluding remark, please?
Me or Murali sir?
No, me, you sir, you. Chetanji, please.
No, I think these are like, firstly, these are not just students. They can all be lifeology teachers. The questions were so good. Weren't they? Really deep. They weren't like, they have really thought about life. They are asking the exact questions.
Right.
Happiness versus success, passion versus a typical career. What is success? How to be disciplined? How to not be distracted? They're on the right path. They just need some guidance. Because they are, at the end of the day, they are young. We were all young, and we know while we want to do the right thing, we can be misguided very easily because we've not fully formed. Even grown-up people get misguided. So, in that sense, it's great to have a guidance festival, the name Guidance Festival. And I think, seek guidance from people you trust and just do the work, man. You will go places. You'll be shocked at where life will take you.
Right. Well, thank you so much. And that was the, what can I say, the much awaited session by the most celebrated author of the nation, Chetan Bhagat. And you know what, Chetan ji, हमारे ये sessions में बहुत सारे लोग आ रहे हैं, मतलब गूगल से स्पीकर आ रहे हैं, नासा से स्पीकर आ रहे हैं, यूनाइटेड नेशन से स्पीकर आ रहे हैं, लेकिन सबसे ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस और सभी लोग यही पूछ रहे थे कि चेतन भगत कब आ रहे हैं. So that's the charisma that you have. Thank you so much for coming on this session and once again accepting Lifeology's invitation. You're always a well-wisher and all hearts to you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining us. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Chetan Bhagat. Chetan ji, आपको जाने से पहले ना हमारी Lifeology टीम की तरफ से एक छोटा सा रिक्वेस्ट है आपसे. वो ये है कि हम सब आपके फैंस हैं, लेकिन सेशन है तो बच्चों को थोड़ा स्पेस देना है. लेकिन ये तो हमें पूछना ही है कि आप प्लीज हमारी Lifeology टीम को एक हाय दे दीजिए, एक
हाँ बिल्कुल. हेलो, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Well, Lifeology team, lage raho. It is hard. It is not easy. To do this. I understand. Har baar lage rehna, but remember that you're making a difference to people's lives. It's very important. A lot of people are listening to you, and maybe even if 5% of students or 2% of students totally change their life after this session today. They change their behavior from tomorrow. They change their habits from tomorrow. That's so many students who will have better future because of us, because of you. So well done, and just keep contributing to the nation like this. I can't hear you.
Am I audible?
Now you are, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So did you get my question just when Zoom just cheated on me? Did you just get the question?
Message? You said a message for the people, but you just ask again. Sorry.
Hanji, no, but that is it. Basically, because our team is a huge fan of yours. So but then it's a session, formal session है, तो हम लोग सब बच्चों के questions को ज़्यादा space दे रहे थे, लेकिन अभी तो नहीं हो सकता. आपको जाने से पहले Lifeology और Lifeology team को और सारी Lifeologists को आपकी तरफ से एक wish देना बहुत जरूरी है. तो please वो भी कर दीजिए.
All the best, guys, and keep doing the good work for the nation. This is needed. Very much needed. Guidance is what is missing. Ambition is there, hard work is there, talent is there, willingness is also there. Guidance is missing. and we are here to give guidance, and I'm very thankful to you.
Thank you so much, Chetanji. So that was Chetan Bhagat with us once again. He was with us for Lifeology Global Fellowship. He is with us on the National Guidance Festival, and that's how gracious he is. He always accepts our invites. Thank you so much, Chetanji. So that's it for you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up for Chetan Bhagat. Thank you. All right. Yes. So that was the much awaited session by Chetan Bhagat. I'm hoping that covered a lot of your questions, a lot of answers to confusions that all of you had. I could see a lot of questions coming in. It would be really good if you can keep your names, because it was very difficult to get the questions. Without names, it becomes even more difficult, right? So that was it. Let's move on to the next section of the day. Now, this section is, I would say, extremely important and probably a little confusing. How to prepare yourself for a global career. ये global career होता क्या है? मतलब, every career must global career होता है? Is it?
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. My name is Rahul. I'm the co-founder of the company Lifeology and Lifeology Foundation, and we are now moving on to a very fantastic session. The next one is really inspiring one. We have a great personality joining us. I would like to give you a prologue about this program, this particular section. Now, have you heard about a book called The World is Flat, A Brief History of 21st Century? The book written by Thomas Friedman that analyzes a very phenomenon called globalization. The book released in 2005, but much ahead, India and the world moved into the globalization, phenomenon of globalization. Now, this book analyzes about various possibilities, world being a single economy, and there is a word which they use called the global career. So today, joining us, a great personality from United Nations, Dr. Murali Tumaragudi. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Murali Tumaragudi, and a great profile. I don't know whether I will be able to tell in a few lines. However, let me try to give a brief introduction about Murali Tumaragudi. Dr. Murali Tumaragudi is currently the Chief of Disaster Risk Reduction, the Crisis Management Branch of United Nations Environment Program. Dr. Tumaragudi received his doctorate from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur in environmental engineering. He is an alumnus of the International Leadership Academy of United Nations University and also attended University of California, Berkeley for the Behrs Environmental Leadership Program. Dr. Tumaragudi has dealt with environmental issues associated with conflicts in Afghanistan, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Liberia, Sudan, and occupied Palestinian territories. He has also dealt with environmental issues caused by tsunami, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, oil spill, and explosion of ammunition dumps around the world. Dr. Tumaragudi is an author par excellence. He received Sahitya Academy Award for Humor in 2018 for his memoir, Chilla Nattu Karingal. He has visited more than 120 countries as part of his career. He is passionate in guiding the next generation to a bright future and career. He has written many articles about global careers. He spoke in various venues about being a global citizen. Dr. Murali Tumaragudi, welcome to the National Guidance Festival of CBSE in association with the Lifeology Foundation.
Thank you, Rahul, for your kind words. And I want to start by thanking the Lifeology Foundation for inviting me to this most exciting National Guidance Festival. As somebody who grew up in a very remote village in India, in Kerala, and having had opportunity to work on a global career, I always believe that a global career is possible for any student in India or any other part of the world. And I always dream, how do I communicate this message at this scale to close to 20 million youngsters in India who come out of the school every year? And I often discuss this with my colleagues in lifeology. In Kerala, in a very limited way, I try to reach people, maybe 5, 10, 100 at a time, maybe 1,000 at one time. But that's really not sufficient. We have to reach millions of people. And therefore, the effort made by the Lifeology Foundation and CPSE together to take this message at a time to hundreds of thousands of people. I understand more than 300,000 people registered for this session, which is astonishing. I don't know if there is any place anywhere in the world where a counseling attempt has been approached at this scale. So I want to congratulate CPSE, and I want to also thank Lifeology for doing what they are doing for these youngsters. As Chetanji just mentioned, and I had an opportunity to listen to him only the last part of his session, our youngsters are on the right path. They are asking the right questions, but they would benefit to some degree from some guidance. And this is what we are trying to do. And before I come to my topic, let me say that we are at a very interesting juncture in human history. Many people believe, and I believe so as well, that we are entering what we call the fourth industrial revolution. The first industrial revolution started with the steam engine, the second one with electricity, the third one with the rapid development in electronics and personal computers, and the fourth one is with artificial intelligence and robotics and a few other technology which goes with it. Internet of Things, drones, the development in biotechnology, and so on. Now, what it does to the careers is quite dramatic. In 2013, the Oxford University analyzed the future of employment, and it came with this report. It's also named Future of Employment. It analyzed about 800 career streams which currently exist and concluded that 46% of these career streams will cease to exist by 2030. Just within 10 years' time. 46% of the type of jobs which we knew will cease to exist. The same point was also studied by the World Economic Forum, which came out a report in October 2021 and concluded that, of course, there will be massive changes in employment pattern, but new jobs will emerge as well. So it is not just important that our youngsters are prepared for existing careers, but they are also familiar with future careers. And that is regardless of whether the career is global or regional or national. And a mention was made about the book Earth is Flat, Thomas Friedman, which talked about globalization. And what globalization have done is that almost every job has now become global and mobile. And jobs go not just ones and twos, tens and thousands, and often millions across borders. In fact, there was another report, I think it was from McKinsey, which in 2006 studied which jobs in the United States could actually move into India as part of this outsourcing revolution. And it concluded, a certain type of jobs would move, but it also concluded that certain type of jobs will not move, such as the job of a person who is supplying food in a restaurant, for example. And at that point of time, it was considered that those jobs are completely safe. Now, 15 years later, there are robots serving food in restaurants, which means that those jobs are no longer safe and stable. So we are entering into a new domain of career. And in fact, internationally, they have started to use the term work life instead of career. So it's not so much that you start on one job and continue to progress in that job and retire, as my generation or our generation did. The new generation, jobs will change over a period of time. And some of the jobs, as I mentioned, will cease to exist, and you have to move on to other type of jobs. So your generation also has to be prepared for that career transition. So it is within this context that I want to talk about global careers. So what are global careers? Some of you may actually know that there is a tremendous increase in the number of Indian students who are going abroad for education these days. More than 500,000 students leave India per year now, and is growing at a rate of 40%. And these people, majority of them are going to other countries, mainly United States, but also UK, Australia, Ukraine, and many other countries. I think there are 25 countries, majority where Indian students are traveling. So is traveling to another country and getting employed in that country a global career? That's one question. Number two, if is getting employed in an international organization, but while sitting in your own country, as the post-COVID work life has made possible, a global career. Now, for the sake of my today's speech, I am considering a global career as one where an individual during their work life work in at least more than one country. So that's a global career. So it could be more than 2, 3, 5, 10. As I was told, in my work life, I have stayed in more than 10 countries to work, and I have worked in probably close to 100 countries, part of my work. And how do we achieve a career where you work in multiple countries during your work life, and what type of preparations you should do in order to get there? So this is what I would be speaking for probably the next 10 minutes. And after that, I'll be happy to take questions. The first and most important thing you must have if you aspire for a global career is a solid academic foundation from an institute of repute, from a good institution. And here comes the question, what is a good institution? A good institution, in my opinion, have three main criteria. Number one, it has a very good mix of students. Number two, it has a very good mix of teachers. And number three, it has a very flexible curriculum. So when I say a very good mix of students, it doesn't mean it has the brightest student from everywhere. It means it has the most diverse set of students, be it nationality-wise, be it gender-wise, be it other parameters of variation. So what you do when you study in that type of an institution is that you form a global network, you increase your cultural awareness. And of course, you benchmark yourself against best people in other parts of the world. Now, this is not always possible when you study in India to be a globally benchmarked institution. So therefore, when you're in India, you look for an institution where the diversity is maximum in an Indian context. So, and this is the difference between if you study in one of the best institute in your state vis-a-vis one of the premier institutions in India. You get the maximum diversity of students. But if you are indeed in one of your you can only get admission to for financial or other reason to one of your state institutions, not everything is lost. The post-COVID situation has made it possible that you can be globally connected through global educational platforms such as edX and Coursera and many others. So you can still be a part of a global academic community. The same goes for professors, that you must go to an institution where there is maximum variety in teaching community as well, that you have teachers from around the world, men and women, and that also increases your perspective in many different ways. And finally, a very flexible curriculum. An institute which just offers the best of physics or best of music or best of medicine is no longer considered a good institute. A good institute is something where it allows the students to mix music with mathematics, physics with philosophy, where student has a lot more autonomy than the teachers or the university deciding what you must study. So having a degree from one of those institutions, which has all the three criteria, is number one. Number two, you must have a qualification which is portable. And what is meant by portable? The portable qualification is one which is recognized across national boundaries. Many qualifications, such as a medical degree, for example, is not globally portable. If you do a medical degree in India, even from the best of our institution, you cannot go and practice as a doctor in 90 or even 95% of the countries around the world. And it's not because of any shortage of our medical education, it's just because of the way the profession is regulated. It's the same for those who do medicine in the United Kingdom, for example, or any other country. And there are many professions which are like that. Legal profession have that type of limit. It is not that it is impossible, but the barrier to entry with a medical degree to go and practice in another country is extremely high. Similar for lawyers and to lesser degree for other professions. But you should keep this in mind when you think of a global career. The third point you must keep in mind is proficiency in languages. If most of us study in English, some of you also study in Hindi, and maybe your state language. But in an Indian context, English is our main linked language to go abroad and have a global career. English opens it up for a range of international organizations. And also a number of countries which are English speaking. I think there are 52 countries which are English speaking because of the colonial background. What many people in India are not familiar with is that, like there is an English speaking world, there is also a French speaking world. I think there are 32 countries around the world which are French speaking, again because of the colonial background. And most of us in India are sort of excluded from that world because we have no access to French. You have similar situation with Spanish and with Arabic as well. So having access to one of these languages increase your chance of getting employed in multiple countries. You also have tremendous advantage with, let's say, Chinese and Japanese, not because many countries speak Japanese, but because Japanese companies operate in a number of countries, and having access to Japanese give you an edge in working in one of those countries. And Mandarin, the language in China, is spoken in multiple countries, and again, Chinese companies gives that type of opportunity to work in many countries. So having access to that type of languages certainly is a huge advantage. One final point I would mention about a global career for somebody from India is our brand in technology. Indian students now have the highest brand in technology globally around the world. Indian students are seen, Indian professionals are seen as very good, very clever IT professionals. So if you have an IT background, you have a possibility for employment in many countries, including in Germany, where I'm currently based. Germany is expected to have a shortage of 500,000 engineers in the coming 10 years. And they are desperately looking for that, to fill that. So there are that type of possibilities. So we must start to look at where are the possibilities where the employment in a global career is maximum. I would conclude my session because I want to answer more questions, and I can take questions in any of those topics by suggesting about a career at the United Nations. The United Nations, even though we think of one United Nations, is composed of more than 50 separate entities, ranging from the UN Secretariat, which most of us know, based in New York, to World Health Organization, which is based in Geneva, to International Maritime Organization based in London, UNESCO based in Paris, UNEP based in Nairobi, International Atomic Energy based in Vienna. So there are close to UN University based in Japan, so there are close to 50 UN organizations. And United Nations is present in almost 193 countries around the world. And if you work for any one of these, you can be considered as working for the United Nations. And the United Nations allow you to enter as an intern if you have completed 3 years of university degree, as a UN volunteer, even when you are a student, but at any time in your career, even if you are 60, you can still be a UN volunteer, as a consultant, and as a staff. And employment is open to members of any of these countries, any of the 193 member states of the United Nations. So people in India have no restrictions of work permit, which is the case if you look to work for a multinational corporation. In Germany, for example, there are restrictions of work permit. But in case of United Nations, there is no such restriction. So students from India can completely aspire to work in US, in Japan, in Ivory Coast, anywhere, without any constraint if you work, if you are employed by the United Nations. And as I said, I come from this extremely remote village in Kerala, learned in my vernacular language, not a fantastic command of English, did not have access to any other language, but simply by getting access to the best of education and slowly building my career, initially in Shell, a multinational oil company, and then getting specific training in the domain of disaster management, I managed to get into the United Nations and then build a global career. If I can do it, I'm sure any one of you can do it. But keep the points which I mentioned in mind, and I would now conclude and open for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I mean, you just answered you just gave an answer to the most asked question, meaning I was just looking at the kind of questions coming in from YouTube and I was just collating it. And one of them was how to get into the United Nations and how is it that you can start a career there? And even before we ask the question, the answer is right there. It just goes on to show, आप सबके लिए जो देख रहे हैं, आप सबके लिए मैं यही बताना चाहूंगी कि सर जो है यूनाइटेड नेशंस रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, G20 इनिशिएटिव रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उससे सब ज्यादा उससे सब ज्यादा ये चीज मैं बोलना चाहूंगी कि वो एक करियर एंथुजियास्ट है। वो बच्चों के करियर के बारे में बहुत बहुत सोचने वाला, इज अ वेरी थॉटफुल करियर एंथुजियास्ट, और यही सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। और इसीलिए ही वी आर सो हैप्पी टू होस्ट हिम हियर। सो सर, लेट्स गेट ऑन विद द क्वेश्चंस। राहुल जी, नायर, would you want to start off the Q&A with him while I get the students to ask him the question?
Please, please, please. I have a question, sir. It's all about a very big issue which we are discussing in our state. A lot of people came back during the Ukraine war, the Russian war, and most of them were medical students. So you mentioned about the medical science, medical education, etc. So, what I learned, correct me if I'm wrong, what I learned is that the medical science is something which is not considered as a largely a global career, because when I have an MBBS degree from India, I'm not supposed to work some other country that I can't treat unless I have a pathology or sometimes a dermatology or dentistry. Some of them are open, but generally it is not like that. So a lot of people returned, and a lot of organizations, countries are offering the medical sciences, medical sciences in different parts. So how can we see this? How do you see this medical science as an international career?
Many people actually did not know this, and I did not know it myself. I assumed that medicine should be one of the most portable qualifications because it's the same human body, it's the same, basic medicine. And if you look at the entire medicine and medical science, they're completely global. A medicine, is invented in the United States, and in less than 3 months, it's already being sold in India and any other part of the world. The vaccine is invented in Oxford, and in 3 months it's all in 193 countries. So when all the goods and services related to medicine is globally portable, the medical degree unfortunately is not portable. And this is purely an administrative issue. It's not really anything to do with the education per se. So I would actually say that two things. Number one, those who really aspire a global career, medicine is probably not the best option. In India, you can work in India, you can go to the United Kingdom with some degree of effort, because now they are allowing some of the MRCP examinations in India, and then go there and practice, and then become a full practitioner there. You can go to the United States with USMLE, but I think you have to start almost in the 3rd year after completing the exam, and still a lot of money. You can go to the Gulf and write some exams and practice. So let's say in about 15 to 20 countries, it is possible with some effort. But beyond that, it's quite challenging. Unlike IT, for example, if you have a background in IT, you can go to any country and do a career. I also wanted to say that we noticed that from Ukraine, probably close to 6,000 students came back, I think. And more than 25,000 students per year, I think, go abroad to study medicine. And all of them assume that the medicine is a globally portable degree. But they don't know that if you study medicine in Ukraine, it's not even approved in India. They cannot come back to India and start practicing. They have to come back to India and take another examination called Foreign Graduate Medical Examination, called, I think FGME, I think it's called. No, it's Foreign Medical Graduate Exam, FMGE. And the pass percentage of that is less than 20%. Which means 80% of those people who come back from another country and take the exam actually failed. And at that point of time, these students are neither, allowed to be doctors there. They're of course allowed to be doctors back in Ukraine, but that's not the idea. But they're not allowed to be doctors here, nor can they go anywhere else. So it sort of binds them. There are, of course, 20% people pass, and therefore they have a future. And so I'm not discouraging anybody from taking a medical degree, but I'm just saying students should understand that medical degree is not a portable degree like other degrees.
Great. All right. I think so. We do have a lot of questions that are coming in from YouTube. So let me ask you.
I have a question. So it's
Yeah,
something
go
which is
ahead.
very interesting. It's about Interpol. So whether whether Interpol is part of UN and how Interpol functions, and is it a global career? How can we enter into Interpol? Well, I don't know how to say or what to say about it.
Yes. If you know, the Interpol itself is not a, let's say, many people understand Interpol as an organization which like a global police, and it is not. There is no such thing as a global police. Policing is a national responsibility. So if someone is interested to go to Interpol because they think it's a global career where they go around the world and looking for crimes, then that's not the good thing to do. But if your idea is to actually work for Interpol, then mostly they take people who have a policing or a forensic type of background, and they are, then they go to their base in the UK, and they are essentially an information exchange type of agency, and they train police officers from around the world in the best practices in policing. They exchange information about criminals who are, trying to use limitations of policing in national jurisdiction as a way to escape after a crime. That type of work they do. And of course, if you are in national policing force, or if you have a background in forensic sciences, you can aspire to work for the Interpol. But do not imagine that it is some sort of an international detective work which they are not allowed to do, because policing is essentially a national job.
All right. Yeah, I think that was a good clarification because a lot of them think that way. So thank you so much, sir. And now, sir, actually, there have been a lot of questions coming in because global career is something that everyone wants to have. And they had this confusion as to, now you can work from any part of the world. Now, does that make any career a global career? So I think you have totally clarified that for them. And we did take some of the best questions and some good, thought-provoking questions and some questions that most of our youth, there are lakhs of students watching us right now. So we have some representatives from them who will be joining you on the panel. I'd like to welcome them. Arya, Sucheta, Diya, Shreya, Sharanya, and Hiya. Welcome. I understand this is one of the greatest opportunities you can have. And sir, these are all students between 8th and 12th standard, and they've all registered for this. And of course, associated with Lifeology also in different projects, and also otherwise, those who've asked us some of the best questions. So they are here today, just selected some of them because we don't have a lot of time, of course. So let's just get started with their questions, sir. So first, I'd like to call Arya. Arya, you can turn on the video, introduce yourself, and please ask your question to Shri Murli Tumaragudi.
Good evening, sir and everyone. I am Arya and I'm from Uttam School for Girls, Uttar Pradesh. Sir, my question from you is it important to have a digital footprint to have a global career? And if it is, then how do we maintain a good digital footprint?
Thank you, Arya. Very interesting question. As Chetan said, I'm very inspired by the level of questions. And I also want to say that I'm also very inspired by the number of girl students who are coming forward with questions. As somebody who constantly support girls and women to achieve better in their career, I'm also very inspired. And maybe at the end, I may say one or two things about women and careers. But regarding digital footprint, yes, absolutely. You are supposed to have a good digital footprint. So not just a digital footprint, a good digital footprint if you want to have an international career. And you may have another session coming up later tomorrow on this, but I will say a few things. Number one is you must have a LinkedIn profile and you should start to build it as soon as you enter the graduation. And you should start following the key individuals and key issues and start to post things so that your digital footprint start to manifest. Now, as much as you have a digital footprint, positive digital footprint through LinkedIn, which is what you will create, and you project a personality which you want others to see. Unfortunately, your other digital footprint, which you have on Facebook and Instagram, is also being watched by employers. Now, I briefly talked about the artificial intelligence. And now what is happening already is that the first level of screening of candidates is not done by human, but by AI. And at least in the digital world, you are not seeking job, the jobs are seeking you. The AI bots are going around LinkedIn looking for people who have background which a company is looking for. And they then come back to you. It has started happening in the IT sector in India, but in other countries, it's happening in every sector, that you don't apply for a job. They find you and they come to you. Now, the same AI is also going and looking into your social media footprint. And some of the analysis, which is done by Oxford University, actually says that if the AI get 65 of your interaction in a social media, 65 times you have liked or shared a post, it can predict a lot about your personality. And it says that if they get 250 points of your interaction, you can predict your personality much better than your teachers and even your family, because of the way the algorithms operate. So you are revealing a lot more on your social media than what you can imagine. And therefore, it's important that you also be mindful when you engage on the social media. This is probably not a right thing to do. It's not an ethical thing to do, but that is what is happening, unfortunately. So it's absolutely important that you have a positive footprint on LinkedIn, but you're also mindful on your all other social media, because your digital footprint could trip you. Thank you.
That's very interesting. That's one of the most interesting things we heard so far today, that, just one like or share, which we do unknowingly, it reveals so much about yourself.
And a bit scary also, right? And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So Arya, I hope that answers your question. Let's move on to the next student panelist, Sucheta. Sucheta, please introduce yourself and ask us the question.
Good evening, everyone present here. I am Sucheta Agnihotri of Pallavi Model School, Alwal. Murli sir, it's a great pleasure to have you here. It's my dream to talk to you. So you are so experienced in the career field you are in. Here goes my question to you, that what skills and career choices should be specifically made for today's generation to compete with the technological world? Can you mention some of the non-technical blooming careers in today's 21st century?
Thank you. This morning I was reading BBC. That's the first thing I do every morning. And it said adaptability is #1 skill you must have for a future career. And adaptability is not about just adapting to any situation you are put in, but adaptability is looking forward. It actually used the word bouncing forward. Because the world is constantly changing and careers are actually forming and vanishing, that the main skill which you should have is not so much whatever skill you start with, but an ability to learn continuously and understand what is coming in future and hook on to that just in time so that you are not redundant. So this is a fundamental thing for regardless of whether you go for medicine, engineering, photography, whatever. Now, if you were to ask for a non-technical career, which has a future, the Oxford University report, which I mentioned, actually say that anything where relationships are important, that is a set of careers which are going to move forward. So in future, the medical degree, the medicine would be taken over to large degree by artificial intelligence. Robots are already doing surgery, and AI would be doing radiology. There are some people who actually believe that training radiologists now is a waste of time because AI can read your MRI and X-ray much better than a human being will ever be able to do. But it says that a personal health advisor who would be able to translate all this ongoing technology, but your personal health needs would be a job which is high in demand. And the same go for your personalized health advisors, and also go for institutional well-being advisors and so on and so forth. So anything which include human interaction, human connectivity, counseling, that's the type of jobs which are going to be in high demand in future. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So can we be really sure that even that will not be taken up? Because considering what you said earlier, that our digital footprint or what we actually do there, I mean, that sort of says so much about our character or our personality. Considering that, do you think even relationships and emotions will also be taken over at some point by AI?
No, very interesting question as well as challenging question. The AI is growing at such a rate that technically we cannot predict what will happen in, let's say, next 10 years. Now, 5 years back, when I started reading about AI, people are almost convinced that AI cannot get into what we call creative domains, so such as, making a beautiful painting, right, or writing a poem. Now, 5 years later, AI has just captured that already. So AI is now writing poetry and writing movie scripts and is being given to very competent, experienced directors, and they're not able to figure out as to which was done by a human being, which was done by AI. So clearly AI can go do much more than that. That's where I mentioned the importance of adaptability. But luckily what's happening is that the way AI is being trained in what we call specific intelligence than on generic intelligence. Because to create a human intelligence in totality is too complex, and there's not so much of a commercial interest in creating that. There's an academic interest always as to can a human be completely replaced by this, this Sophia robot and all is part of that experiment. But since there are so many humans, there's not so much of an interest in creating that human in totality. Also because what is very simple for a human being is very complex for a robot. What's very complex for us is very simple for a robot. That's, this is the basic theory in AI and robotics. And therefore, you, at least at this point, 10 years, where we can foresee in this type of thing, a totality human interaction is probably we are safe. But on any specific line of activity, probably we are not safe. Meaning that career is not safe.
I get it. All right. Thank you, sir. That was just out of curiosity. Let's move on to the next student, Dia. Dia, go ahead, ask your question.
Thank you, ma'am. So first of all, ma'am and sir, hope you both are doing great. I am Dia Kaushik. I am from grade 9, Pallavi Model School, Alwal, Hyderabad, India. And first of all, sir, lightening up your prior remarks on digital footprint. I really found it advice actually useful because I myself created my LinkedIn account for in 8th grade because I started on internships from 8th grade. So that was a really great opportunity for me to create network there. So thank you for that advice to everyone. And now, moving on to my own question. My question is that can you elaborate on your footsteps that you've undertaken to land on your current position? Like, were you cautious about your career selection and preparing to it during a young age? Or did it all just happen by chance?
Thank you for this question. In my case, as I said, I come from a remote village from a government school. It was really not in the realm of my possibilities that I aspire for an international career. So clearly, if I got a job of a village officer or a clerk in a bank, that's the type of things I was aspiring at that point of time. But as I studied and moved higher and higher into better and better institutions, the horizon started expanding. So I would say my career is incrementally expanded rather than specifically planned at an early day and work towards it. But now your generation have the opportunity to at least think a bit long term, a bit far, because in the times where I was growing up, even to dream about going abroad for studies this was not there for 99.99% of Indians. But now, even middle class to lower middle class people are able to aspire to go abroad and create an international career. And therefore, you are starting from a, let's say, stronger foundation and better chances. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So let's move on to the next student speaker, Shreya. Shreya Mittal, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So good evening, everyone. I am Shreya Mittal, currently studying in grade 12th in City Montessori School, Rajiv Nagar branch, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. So my question to you, sir, is that some courses and careers will be having prominence in some countries, whereas it might not be prominent in the rest parts of the world. So on this note, can you suggest some reasons and solutions? How can an international student be safe in selecting a global career? And can you suggest some suitable courses and career options which I could pursue after my school education?
Thank you. You are right. There are some specializations which happens. For example, in the United Kingdom and Singapore, this is about finance. If you go to the Middle East, this is about petroleum. And if you go to the United States or to Germany, for example, it's about manufacturing. So there are some degree of specialization. And when you look at an international career, you have to ask yourself as to why is that you are seeking an international career on one side. Are you looking for money? Are you looking for opportunities to travel? Are you looking for better lifestyle? And that narrows down in a way the type of countries where you would be going or you would be interested to go. On the other side, you also have your own personal aptitude towards being an accountant or an architect or an engineer, etc. So you have to mix between the two, and then only we can make a conclusion to that effect. Assuming that having aspired and identified that aptitude, you can actually reach there, because that also presupposes there's a certain financial support from the family, etc. In your specific case, I think probably you can write to Lifeology and we will be able to give you a bilateral session, because it would be too complicated just based upon the information which I have to give you a specific advice. But generally speaking, if you are aspiring for a global career, my recommendation is to choose not to go too narrowed down to one area. Let's say I will not take up petroleum engineering as a basic degree if I want an international career. I may take a mechanical engineering, and then if I get an opportunity to work in the oil and gas industry in India or Middle East, then I may do a master's in petroleum engineering and move around. Because if I take a petroleum engineering degree and if I do not manage to move to Middle East, then I may be stuck, because that doesn't help me to go to Singapore, for example, or to Japan, for example. So that closes certain options, which is not the case if you do a mechanical engineering degree. So this is how you have to plan. So you have to plan on something where your base is as broad as possible. And if you are from a commerce stream, you should also know that if you have a chartered accountant degree, it has equivalent problem like medicine, which I mentioned. Your chartered accountancy is valid in India, but not to practice in the UK, where you have to have another degree. I think also ACCA, or to go to US, you need another set of degree. So choose something which is basic, foundational, on which you can build based upon your other aptitude and life choices, the type of country you want to go, the type of career you want to choose. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So we do have a question from the viewers as well. Emma has asked a question. If a student was to take science stream in 11th and 12th, would he or she still be eligible for a career in the UN?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, UN is more than 50 organizations and in 190 countries, so probably thousands of officers, and we need everything from somebody who's leading the organization, the Undersecretary General, who probably have an international studies and international politics background, to the lift operator and driver, for example, on the other end. So you have the entire range. And organizations such as International Atomic Energy Agency, probably 80% of them are from science. The Organization for Prevention of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, full of chemists. There are World Maritime University in Malmo, full of marine biologists. International Maritime Organization in London, partly ship engineers, but also scientists. World Health Organization, full of scientists. United Nations Environment Program, full of environmental scientists. So the science degree, or no degree, like it doesn't matter what degree you take. You can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, you can be an accountant. You can get into a United Nations career. There's no barrier to the degree which you take. Thank you.
That's very encouraging to know. Thank you so much, sir. And Emma, I hope that answers your question. Let's move on to the next student question, who is Sharanya. Sharanya, go ahead.
Greetings, sir. My name is Sharanya. I am studying in Delhi Public School, Ghaziabad, Vasundhara in Delhi. It is a great pleasure to be able to interact with you. In fact, I was going through your profile when I came to know that you left your job at UBEP to take a bigger project of G20 Global Initiative on Environmental Protection. So the question I had was that even when we have a handful of other profile of jobs, what is the reason that the presence of a well-experienced senior-most person like you serves an important role in environmental protection? What is the importance of gaining experience? Could you please give some insight on it?
Once again, I cannot tell you how impressed I am to see that you have spent the time to go and review my profile. This is exactly what you should do in future when you go for an interview, when you go to meet people. The more learned you are about the individual and the institution, the better are your chances of being considered for that job. We always recommend to people that you spend your time reviewing. And these days, there is a digital footprint for me as well, and you can know all about me. As I said, as much as I did not plan my career, that it happened incrementally, but I also proactively looked for interesting experiences. So anytime an opportunity came for me, which is slightly beyond my comfort zone, I always took it. And I also made it a point that in every 5 years in my career, typically, I went to study something which was not in my core area. And by doing so, I got into a network of professionals who are not, for example, when I was doing civil engineering, I went to study biotechnology. So I had then more association with the biologists than engineers. I was doing biotechnology, I went into magnetic resonance imaging. So I got into a different type of experts. So expanding this type of your professional network, progressively edging your career into your boundary is one way, in my opinion, to have a very interesting career. You could also do the opposite. You can progressively narrow down and down into a very specific work, which I don't think is wrong. I think such people are needed, but such people are probably needed more in academics to generate new knowledge so that the humanity can move forward. But for somebody who is more interested in seeing the world and having a little bit of a, let's say, global career, but also experience the world, expanding your horizon is a better option. Thank you.
All right, I hope that answers your question, Sharanya. And over to our last student panelist, Hia. Go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you, ma'am. And hello, sir. I'm Hia Dokai. I study in 11th at Uttam School for Children, and I come from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So first of all, thank you so much for giving us your precious time and enlightening the youth of today, and taking some of us closer and one step ahead in our dream of studying abroad. And thank you so much of briefing us about the digital footprints and telling us something that we never heard before. So I would say that today's generation is now getting aware of the climatic changes happening around us. And so you being a well-versed person with three decades of progressive senior management experience and technical expertise in land restoration issues. So could you please elaborate what is the main reason that we face change in the climatic situation and huge natural disasters? Like how land restoration has actually been done after facing huge natural disasters like landslides and droughts, and how we as students, as teenagers, can help save our Mother
Earth. Such a profound question. I wish I'd had a lot of time to explain, and maybe another day Lifeology should organize a session on this topic so that I can speak about it. As I sit down here, if I look to my right, I am actually looking at the head office of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is just 50 meters from my office here. And as you know, climate change is the defining crisis of the century and of our generation. And there's no doubt that it is human activities which has triggered this changing climate. We scientists actually know what is there to be done regarding climate change. And scientists knew already in 1990 what is to be done. The problem is not so much the science. The problem is that individual countries, as they look at their national priorities and the compromises which they have to make to deal with climate change, that never became a top priority item. This is an unfortunate fact, and this is why people like Greta Thunberg is standing up and saying that you have actually put our career, our life and future at peril. And she's right. Climate change is catching up faster than our effort to deal with it. So as I said, it's not so much as to what we can do. If you Google, you can get, what are the 10 things we can do as individuals. What is that a country like India should do? There are national adaptation plans for each of the 193 countries. All that is well documented. But what young people like you should do, or you could do, is to look at what Greta Thunberg and other young people are trying to do in Europe. They are rising up and challenging the previous generation, meaning my generation, and saying that you have failed. You are not doing what you are supposed to do, and you are putting our future in trouble. And that voice is actually being heard now, at least in Europe, because they are so powerful. The current generation of very young people, people from 14 years to 20 years, most politically active generation in the last 100 years is what I was told. Before that, there was no, this type of massive democratic politics was not there. So young people are not so much active anyway. So if you look at the democratic world, the focus has shifted to the younger generation, and they are doing, from direct action, such as Fridays for Future. They're standing outside the class and saying, what's the point in studying when the climate is changing, for example. 2, taking government to court, saying that what you're doing is not enough and you're putting our life in trouble. So some degree of collective action, not necessarily standing outside the class, but even through your own tools of Instagram, you can generate that collective interest in this topic. Now, if young students only focus on what they normally focus on, then those who are making decisions at the highest level do not think climate change is as important as if other people. And I'm not saying this responsibility lies with you, the responsibility lies with us, my generation. But as you see, the generation is not doing very well, and therefore some effort from your generation to stand up and shake would help. And that's what we are seeing in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope that answers your question. Unfortunately, due to lack of time, we won't be able to take more student panelists, though we did have a lot of them asking if they can. But then for now, I think this is what we have. Sir, it's extremely, I keenly follow your posts on Facebook, on social media, your thought-provoking, your thoughts on events that happen around us. So, it's really, really great that while we have a festival with so many, lakhs of students who is the next generation here, it's extremely great that you took your time off and shared your thoughts with them. And, probably in such a, you brought them to ground and to the reality, and at the same time, making it inspiring. Thank you so much, sir. It was absolutely a pleasure having you. Any last words to Lifeology, CBSE, all the lifeologists keenly and excitedly and enthusiastically listening to you, and all of the next generation watching you right now?
First of all, to the next generation, as I said, this is, people often say that the past was better than what it is now. And I want the young people to know that this is not true. The world in 2022 is a much better place. Whichever axis you take, we are living a healthier life, a more comfortable life, and in fact, a happier life now than before. It is just out of nostalgia that people keep saying the past was a better. So don't believe them. You have a better and brighter future, and I'm sure you will make it better and brighter in your career. To Lifeology, I want to thank you for the service you are doing to all these young people and to the nation. As I said, probably a couple of 100,000 people are watching this, and maybe more will have access to the video. But I follow Indian demography. 20 million Indians are born per year, and all of them are entering school. Even though not all of them come out of the school, all of them should. Still, we are talking about millions of students in the schools, and all of them should have access the type of services which Lifeology is doing. And I dream of the day when every student in the country have access to support from Lifeology. And I wish you grow much beyond our borders and much bigger in scale. And you have institutional association with things like CBSE and every other state board, so that our youngsters can benefit. And so I want to thank you for you and your team who are here for organizing this. And CBSE, I want to thank you for identifying Lifeology and creating this festival of career. I wish this is an annual event And I wish this a bigger event next year and more students are having access to this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's so overwhelming to hear these words coming from you. Thank you so much once again. Thank you very much for addressing us, addressing the nation, addressing these students. Thank you very much on behalf of Lifeology. And thank you, the student panelists, for coming here and asking impressive questions. I mean, we were totally, bowled over by your questions, and all the guests, both Chetan Bhagat sir and Murli Tumaripudi sir, spoke really high about you guys. Thank you so much.
I would like to add a few things here. Sir, that was a great closure, and thanks for the blessings. And in future, definitely we'll be having more participants. And still, we have great number of people who are watching, and this recording shall be available in YouTube of CBSE's link channel. And there are a lot of questions. So this is another thing which I would like to say to the people who are watching. We are getting a lot of questions related to chartered accountancy, related to engineering opportunities in medicine, genetics, artificial intelligence, so on. I mean, the number of questions are too much. Well, dear friends who are watching, please stay tuned with us. We will be having 1 week of celebration, and there are a lot of experts like Dr. Murli Tumaripudi joining us, and hopefully we are expecting great personalities from different parts of the world. We'll be having people from NASA. We'll be having people from United Nations again. Hopefully, Google and such kind of greater companies are also joining, and from great universities. People are joining from National University of Singapore. They're from universities in Australia. But all these people we are bringing best of the brains to a single platform to enlighten our next generation. So the questions, I know there are a lot of questions, and today we spoke about the global careers. And I'm sure this session was a fantastic one. I'm getting a lot of appreciation to Murli Tumaripudi sir. We are getting a lot of appreciation from principals. I was parallelly watching my WhatsApp. We have around 3,000 principals connected with Lifeology, and I'm getting a lot of appreciation from principals that saying that we are missing such kind of sessions, and we are missing so many such great sessions. So thank you very much once again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much for joining us. Over to you, Diba.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rahul, for adding that. And thank you, Murli sir, one more time. And thank you, everybody. And I just want to end on a really very positive note that says that, we've got so many participants watching these sessions. So I just want to remind you guys that every participant of the National Guidance Festival will get a certificate. I want to remind you this has been announced earlier, but I want to announce it again. Like Murli sir was saying, we really want to encourage students' exposure into the world. So we really want to make sure that we have this kind of participation. So that's an encouragement, and that's a word. There will be certificates for all participants of the National Guidance Festival. And also this goes on for every day. All right. So that's on that positive note. Tomorrow, we have an extremely relevant topic, one of my personal favorite topics, because I'm a core believer of skills, okay, and that too 21st century skills, the 7 C's. There are specifically researched and established 21st century skills required to meet the demands of the 21st century and in future. You will know more about it tomorrow, how to enhance your 21st century skills and how important is it to learn about 21st century skills. All about that tomorrow on the same platform. So I'll see you all tomorrow once again. This is goodbye and good night from CBSE National Guidance Festival, supported by Lifeology Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dear guests. Thank you once again, Murli sir. Thank you so much, student panelists. Good night, chill out. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.